Got itchy palms? That's a sign. Money could be coming your way with Scratch and Win from Caribbean Lottery. It's the easiest way to win instantly. No waiting, no fuss. With tickets starting from just $2 up to $20. Win over $35 million in prizes. The higher the price, the bigger the prize. So scratch today for your chance to win up to $200,000. Available at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WINN FM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WINN FM 98.9.
Babe, we can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on WINN Media 98.9.
Good morning. Good morning. It's just about 7 minutes after the hour of 8. Welcome to today's edition of Island Tea. Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to the regional and international diaspora. To those of you who listen to us earnestly, thank you for tuning in. Good morning to Mario over there in Nevis. Good morning to Tessa. Good morning to Carlisle. Good morning, Miss Henry, Mr. McMahon, Culture. Let me see if I can get everybody jammed down. How are we doing this morning? Good morning. Good morning, Elda. Good morning, Gwyneth. Good morning, Cleo. Good morning, Kathleen. Good morning, Dave. Everybody that listens, I can't remember all the names. Diana H and Diana L. Good morning. Good morning, Gowan. Good morning. And I'm going to start today's edition with one local story, and then we go straight across to Dominica, because I don't know if you saw Quinn, they had unrest, and I saw days before that. I've been watching the story because I remember the Prime Minister of Dominica asking for the RSS to come, so like he preempted something was going to happen. Then I see Minister Chastanet from St. Lucia said they need to look into it to see if they really need the RSS. And then we saw what played out yesterday. However, yesterday afternoon, I did see the plane while looking at flight radar on a course, but it never says where it's going. So I can't assume it was going to Dominica, although when I touched on it, the lines showed it was going down that line, but it never says where it's going. So I don't know if they got there and what would have happened, but I'm going to start with the local one first before we get over to Dominica. And this story concerns our CBI program. And it's penned by Ahmad Abbas. And it says, St. Kitts CBI program now accepts cryptocurrency as wealth source. And it says the Citizen by Investment Unit, the CIU of St. Kitts and Nevis, now accepts cryptocurrency as a partial source of wealth for citizenship applicants. This change, which the CIU, the communication divisions, announced via email to its authorized agent, requires additional due diligence fees and separate wealth verification documentation. The decision mirrors a similar policy implemented by Hong Kong's Capital Investment Entrance Scheme, CIS, which began accepting cryptocurrency holdings as valid proof of wealth earlier this year. The CIU introduced several other policy modifications. Applications can now be financially sponsored by parents or children of main applicants when validated by birth certificates. These sponsors must submit comprehensive documentation, including application forms, employment letters, proof of address, recent bank statements, and reference letters. Sponsors undergo due diligence checks and pay associated fees. The unit has halted processing name changes to certificates of registration. These modifications will instead occur during passport renewal, with previous names listed on the passport observation page. So just a bit of changes to our CBI program, and I hope it continues to grow.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah, and that it doesn't bother those who it seems to bother. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That is all.
It seems as if though more and more individuals are getting into this cryptocurrency thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to venture into that anytime too soon.
I remember when I flew, I had one of the engineers come up and approach me about it, and he said, in years' time, this is going to be worth 700 and this is going to be worth that. And I'm like, because I believe in the word and all those things, I'm like, I ain't dealing with this now. I don't know if this is the mark. I don't know. So I'm I prefer to be hungry and be one of the set that die, lose weight because I'm not eating, but
yeah, I
refuse to be in.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And I was even looking to over in Dominica, that their prime minister as well, he said he was not. Let me pull up the headline first before I say anything, because I have all the stories. Quinn, I send you some, but I know. I sent one to you. And the news comes from Dominica News Online, and it says PM's decision, Dominica is not giving up Cuba medical program. Okay. So all of them are singing the same tune, so I like that.
Yeah. But he's emphatic. He's straight to the point.
Yeah. He has no time to. It says, I'm just going to read a little of it. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has added his voice in support of Cuba's medical missions program, stating that Dominica is not in a position to give it up. And we know a lot, because we don't have a lot of our own citizens specializing. It's mostly the Cuban doctors. So why are we going to give them up to, for everybody to die?
To please who?
And then everybody can't afford a near ambulance. Everybody cannot afford a visa. Everybody can't get to the States. So we going to allow our population to suffer? Yeah. And it says, in a bold response that reflects the region's historical quest for sovereignty, Caribbean leaders are resisting U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's threat to revoke visas from officials supporting Cuba's medical mission program. Several prime ministers have expressed their willingness to sacrifice access to the U.S. rather than compromise health care for their citizens.
Yeah. Even American citizens go to Cuba when they have certain health situations. And that has helped Cuba's what you would call it, health tourism.
Medical tourism.
Yeah, medical tourism.
But I was speaking to my cousin in the UK, and I remember she was conceived in Cuba because both my aunt and uncle studied in Cuba, and her parents took her back there in 2018, and then she needed to go to the US a couple years later.
Yeah.
And she was afraid because since 2011 apparently they started putting up things of certain countries. If you go to, you have to say and whatever, and if they're not satisfied enough, you won't get the ESTA. You'll have to go apply for a visa. Even with the system that they have in place with the British passport, right? So she has told me a few persons had to go get visas because they went to Cuba from the UK. Yeah. So they just probably figured, nah, you come get a visa. You went to Cuba. I vexed you. But she said she was on edge because it took her normally once she does her ESTA, she get it back quickly. She said that day it took forever. Even when she got into the US, they still questioned her again. She went into a room and they had a talk again. So, yeah. So whatever beef, as they said, some of these people, their families were ran out of Cuba because maybe they had oligarchies and whatever.
Yeah.
And they're still not forgiven.
Yeah.
They're holding on to it. They're going to fight to the death.
Yeah, the same with Elon Musk, who had to flee from South Africa. You know, he has his own issues with South Africa.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought his parents moved. So he moved because his mom is Canadian.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I'm not going to go into details.
Oh boy. As we continue along in the vein of Dominica, we see St. Martin. That's French, St. Martin. They're about to become a member of the OECS this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
But they have been leaning towards that and sort of suggesting that for some time.
French? St. Martin?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the whole of St. Martin didn't decide. I know part's Dutch, the bigger part, the smaller part is Dutch, the larger part is French. But I thought, they'll work in unison and everybody come together since it's...
Well, it seems in certain things they do, but perhaps not in everything. I don't know.
Okay, so as we continue in the vein of Dominica, because that was on the Dominica news as well, UWP leader Dr. Thompson Fontaine urges public to rally for electoral reform in Roseau yesterday. So, political leader of the United Workers' Party, Dr. Thompson Fontaine, is calling on Dominica's public to turn out in large numbers today at the Parliament building in Roseau to demand electoral reform, one that the people of Dominica have asked for. He made the call while delivering remarks at a press conference organized by the Electoral Reform Coalition on Tuesday. The government will be taking 3 bills on electoral reform to Parliament for second and third readings today. They are the Electoral Commission Bill 2024, House of Assembly Elections Bill 2024, and Registration of Electors Bill 2024. The ERC insists that any attempt by the Dominica Labour Party government to proceed to Parliament without campaign finance regulation, voters' ID cards that has the biometric information and that can be used for the purpose of voting and re-registration must be resisted, and urge citizens to prepare for such eventuality. So let me get this clear. So government to proceed to Parliament without campaign finance regulation, voter ID cards that has biometric information and that can be used for the purpose of voting and re-registration. Okay. We are here today to call up on all of you. When I say all, I mean all. I am talking about school children, the young people, NEP workers, government workers, farmers, non-employed, every single Dominican who cares about democracy in Dominica should find themselves at the Parliament building, he encouraged. And the reason why we are going to Parliament is to send a very clear message, one that the government of Dominica cannot misinterpret, that we are fed up of these games, we are fed up of having a failed system, and that we want electoral reform, one that the people of Dominica have asked for. And let me just look for pertinent parts. we have some serious concerns about, well, he also stressed on the issue of the reconfirmation process against re-registration. We have some serious concerns about that, Dr. Fontaine said. He said in court, we are going for reconfirmation and not re-registration. According to him, the list that's presently available that will form the basis of the reconfirmation process should be set aside, and everybody who qualified should be allowed to re-register. So he doesn't want to reconfirm, because in reconfirmation, some of these people may be deceased or may not be living on Dominica. So they want the entire process. So they want voters ID like we have.
Yeah.
I never knew they didn't have voters ID.
No.
I should have touched base with a friend of mine just to make sure. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So they said during a live interview earlier this week, Prime Minister Roosevelt indicated that the Regional Security System, the RSS, will be placed on alert over protest action that will take place near the Parliament yesterday, which most of us saw on social media. He said citizens are allowed to protest, but they must do so peacefully. They were lifting up the barricades. They were pelting at the officers. I saw the officers fire tear gas into the crowds. I even heard that the tear gas eventually affected a daycare that was close by and some elderly folks that live close by. I even look at the officers running for their lives, and I'd be like, who are they serving and protecting? Their own life, right? Because they're not standing there to be beaten. Because when I saw those people lift the barricade, and I was like, oh boy, I didn't expect them to protest this much yesterday.
Yeah. But do you think that that would mean justify the RSS coming in?
Well, maybe the Prime Minister didn't think that he himself has enough armed forces to deal with it. Maybe he feels the people of Dominica might respect the RSS, the bravado, the brand, what they stand for, than their local officers. Because we do tend to behave like that. We respect people from the outside than we do our folks on the inside.
Because when you have people from the outside, they don't have families there, and they don't really show any empathy, any sympathy. They just, but the
Deal
police, the police sometimes they run away because they don't want to hurt friends and family and
keep themselves safe. That's why I said protect and to serve. But you serving and protect yourself because you dash. I look at most of the videos yesterday. Don't mean to laugh, but it was just how those police just got out of there like, no, we're not doing this today. Yeah. But I even said, we have a particular call. You always say protest. As I say here, we don't protest. You see these protests in other islands. We just talk. And we don't pick it. If we do have a protest, it's 2 or 3 persons. But we don't ever have a big protest when it comes to anything. You just hear us running our mouths. Our mouths. After 9 days, we shut up.
Well, historically, it has shown that even though we don't usually do it, when we do it, it is not a nice thing. It is not a nice thing. So maybe that's why don't push us to that point where we do, because you look back at
remember the fire and stuff down so.
Yeah, and even go back to the Buckley's riot and so on and so forth,
When so it's an extreme push.
Yeah, when we do push back, it's not a nice thing.
But as I said yesterday, they pushed back and they left the barricades. They threw the barricades. They threw stones. They had the officers gallivanting backwards. Like, no, we're not doing this.
Well, it means that they take whatever reforms they want to see very seriously.
But it should be, man. Why we can't be free and fair? If people are for you, they're for you. If you're going to vote for somebody because you're going to vote for them on merit and morale, it's going to happen. Why do we think we need to cheat the system and keep people on the list that are not there and have maybe shadow voters voting in those persons' spot? That don't make... Why are we cheating? Let me go to the polls for man. If we to win, the people are going to look at... I think most of the constituents and the electorate are looking at what the ministers are doing, what they said what they would have done, how far the country would have come. Then, you have some that care about your personality more than you. But come on, if people are for you, they're going to vote for you. Let's be fair. Let destroy the list. Let everybody
For me, when you see
re-register.
the way how the Dominicans reacted in terms of moving barricade, throwing stones and that kind of stuff, I think perhaps their frustration has peaked. Maybe they saw this happen an election before or 2 elections before, and they mean we don't want to see that the next election.
Yeah, because they're asking for it.
Yeah, so they're serious about it. So let's see what steps the government will take to remedy that.
And as I said, Minister from St. Lucia, he was saying, do they really need the RSS?
Yeah. I don't think for something like that they needed the RSS. Because
you think they can handle their own?
Yeah, I think, that's an internal thing. People get heated, and the police run away, and, it's not any big thing. It's just, but maybe if you had the RSS, somebody would have gotten hit and somebody gotten, and it might have escalated even more. So when I don't agree that he needed the RSS for something like that.
And I guess because the RSS is mainly for the OECS, I guess most persons would want to know.
And I think it was a wise question, because you don't just get up and say you want the RSS. It has to be something that you feel, and whoever are in control of the RSS feel like, look, we need to stem this. But an internal thing about electoral reform and the people protesting in a heated manner. No, I don't think so.
Well, I think they still got their bills passed either way, but I don't know what's going to continue down there. But I am going to monitor it closely.
I don't think the protest was to stop the bills. The protest was to send a message that this electoral reform that we want, think about it in the future and give it to us.
Yeah, but I think they wanted to stop the bills in the sense that it's not what they asked for.
Well, I'm not sure because I don't know what kind of bills there were.
Okay, let me pull up those bills. Give me 1 second. Oh no, that's the RSS one. We already spoke about.
Yeah. Let's take a bit of a commercial break while you do that, and then we can.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are any exit. Stairs might broke up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WINN FM.
Voices has a new time. Starting Friday, January 24, tune in from 10 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Voices right after Island Tea on WINN FM. Money Matters with Dr. Terrence Martin moves to Monday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. Inside the News on Saturday mornings, now 10 to 12 noon. Tune in to WINN FM 98.9. Log on to winmediaskn.com and our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch pages. And let's go. Keep up with the news on our website and by following our WINN Media SKN channel on WhatsApp. Message your comments or call WINN FM at 466-0989, 662-0989, or call our U.S. numbers from anywhere, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and call our sales office at 466-9586. Voices, now 10 to 12 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Money Matters, 1 to 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. And Inside the News, Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon on WINN FM 98.9.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on WINN Media 98.9.
Caller, good morning. You're live in Island T.
Good morning, sister.
How are you?
Hortensia. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Next time you get church, tell your pastor and Elder Bailey, say, give me a call on my landline.
Okay.
Because my good friend, you know.
Okay. And that number is 465-3645, right?
Right.
Okay. I'll pass that message to you.
I want to inquire about the church in Jamaica that I used to attend.
Okay.
It was a university. Anyway, good morning, Quinn.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and good to hear your voice.
Yeah, man. I put you on the prayer list, now.
Well, thank you.
No. For good, For good.
Yes. I would expect
The Bible says, seek the Lord while he may be found.
Yes.
Call upon him while he's near. Like the wicked turn from his ways, and the unrighteous man is taught.
Mm-hmm.
That's for all of us, you know.
Amen.
All of us got to seek. You know, God doesn't respond like how some people think, you know.
Yeah.
I like this scripture in Lamentation 3:22 and 23. Says God has not destroyed us because of our wickedness or whatever, our unbelief. Mm-hmm. He's not willing that anybody should perish. And he says God takes no pleasure, contrary to some people believe, God takes no pleasure in the death of anybody who don't know him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, exactly. Where were you in 1993? Were any of you here?
Me, no. I'm a 95er.
I think I was here. But,
you're all bad. You're all too small.
No. I wasn't too small. I got here in 95. That's what
I was here.
Right.
I was here. I was here because in the 80s I was working at ZIZ. So yes, I was here.
Well, our office was upstairs in the building next to the government quarters where the development bank used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The planning unit, we were on the second floor, and the Ministry of Trade was on the top floor, and the development bank was downstairs. Ministry of Tourism and so. So we got a front seat in the commotion. We had to walk to Barboya to get to the office.
Oh, you mean that instance? Yeah, well, I was here.
That instance. So what you're talking about in Dominica, mm-hmm. We had that same thing here.
Yeah.
In 93.
And was it because of the same thing?
Election.
Okay.
What happened when they had the election? PAM won 4 and Labour won 4.
Oh, so it's a tie.
A tie.
Mm-hmm.
In Nevis, NRP won 1 and CCM won 2.
Oh, so somebody had to join.
Well, CCM said they're not joining with any party, saying it's.
Oh. You know why?
I suppose they don't want to be in the confusion.
Okay.
It was well organized, It was not spontaneous as people think.
Yeah.
It was not spontaneous. It was well planned by some of my good revolutionary friends.
Okay.
Right? So, they said the Governor General, I think it was Arundel, no?
Yeah.
Right. They went to meet, and according to him, they said that, according to Limo, he said that they were given a certain time, by a certain time of the day.
Yes.
So that they know what you plan to do. Meanwhile, NRP joined with PAM.
Mm.
So when they learn that NRP joined in with PAM to make 5 against 4, because 2 said they're not in anything. Mm-hmm. Lord, it was right in town. Mm-hmm. Was more of the country people, eh?
Yeah.
But it brought them in from constituency 6.
Oh, wow.
Children and all. And women really brave, you know. Women were trying the stone and the battle.
That is why I say women have always had certain powers, you know. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, the police ain't gonna shoot them anyway.
Yeah. The police were firing something yesterday in Dominica too. I'm not sure if it was
tear gas.
Just tear gas?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were tear gas in the sink.
Yeah, but I was wondering too if it was rubber bullets too, because I saw tear gas being fired. But I was wondering.
No, I don't think they use.
No, I don't think they would do that because it could cause some harm and
rubber.
Yeah,
the rubber
they
ones?
could hit you in the eye and that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because remember, it depends on the speed
Yeah.
of the bullet.
Okay.
Man, I never woman move barrier, pull the barbed wire barrier when they are swearing in.
Yeah.
Some young men battle. They battle down the poor government headquarters building. See the ministers going to get swearing. Oh Lord, it was something to see. So we've had our share, and by the prison break out.
Oh yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
I was out by the gate watching some of our good revolutionaries. The police, I think the RSS came in, maybe after. Pushing, some of the prisoners got out. Fire in the prison.
Yeah, that is why I say when we react, it's not a nice thing.
So is that an excuse though for not reacting?
Not so much
in a nice way.
Not so much an excuse for not reacting, but I think what they say, let sleeping dogs lie. Yeah.
All right.
Well, so that's somebody to motivate you and thing, you know. Cause that's a lot what opposition parties do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But interestingly, none of the leaders have been it.
I was just gonna ask because these people, we know the opposition spoke and the people listen and the people are gonna fight. But at the end of the day, who makes the final decision and who has the right? Yes, the people decide, and that's what I'm saying. That's why they should do elections free and fair and stop the cheating. If they said empty the list and let everybody that lives on Dominica know if they want to register or register not, let them register so it could be free and fair. Like, why we just want to have resubmission and not re-registration?
Because we are people who want to put on power.
You don't want to let it go, right?
And the opposition, they're good at doing what they fight for.
Yeah, boy.
When they're out, they want all the rights.
Yep.
When they're in, they don't want to come out.
Power to sweet. Yeah.
You see how Trump went on, saying that only small island.
Yeah, exactly. And then too, he's
He want
hoping
to
for
come out
next
on
term.
January 6th.
Come on, exactly.
But I could tell you something, Thank God only one term he had. If he could have had another term after this one, America would have been up in flames.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wants you. I hope there's no way that he can change any part of that constitution, because we already see they're not obeying the laws of it. But
darling, politicians don't obey.
Oh boy.
Politicians excuse. While they like army captain and so, they send you to the front. And they do the strategy. The strategy doesn't include anybody for them either. You notice?
Yeah.
They put the children in colleges, rich people. Once they're in college, you don't have to go to fight.
Yep.
So the rich children, even if they can't learn or they're interested, they put them in a college. And they send all they clean out the ghettos.
Yeah.
Like in Vietnam. But sometimes we don't know our own interests. We don't know our own interests. If they're so interested, why they don't lead the fight?
Miss Henry, how long has Trump been in office?
Who?
Trump. This second term, how long has he been in office?
Well, he was sworn in January 20th.
January,
So just
February,
like
March.
almost 3 months.
3 months. And
Yeah.
The election was in November, but they don't go in until the 20th of January.
The reason I ask that is because the way he's going and the way the people are reacting, I think he's going to have to simmer down, cool down, make some changes.
Where?
How? He will have
The
to.
man, he has made it clear.
He said it.
I believe
the army and the street. He said,
Well,
Yeah. Everything he said in his campaign he's doing. And that's what I like about him. He never hid who he was. I was just hoping that people would have realized that, You don't want that. But it's obviously that you want that.
After January 6th, that he will be a little more rational.
Mm-hmm.
But he's more defensive of his position.
Yeah.
And he has around him people. You hear about I think it's 25 they call them. The project 25.
Yeah.
Project, 2025, yeah.
They were denying that's not true, but
look at there.
The whole script.
Yeah, look at there.
Yeah.
Right in front of them.
Yeah.
The whole script.
Yeah. He too, with a straight face, said he doesn't know about that. With a very straight face, be like, I don't know about
watch. Politicians doing, to tell the truth, they got to be on their way out.
You know something I learned yesterday, which I was unaware of. It seems like majority of the blacks in the U.S. are not taking part in these protests and a lot of these things. So, it seems it is causing some friction where the Hispanics and the whites are saying to the blacks, well, if you don't take part and help us when we get, and if we get what we want, we're going to deal with you. And the blacks, because I heard a black preacher on the pulpit asking the question, what more could you do to us? After slavery, what could you do to us?
But you know, I also heard a black person from the U.S. said that they fight for a lot, and then who benefits? Those same folks.
That's it.
So that's why now it's your turn. Do it. Why we had to come with you? Who was
blacks
fighting for Black Lives Matter?
The blacks are saying, we told you this was going to happen.
But some of the blacks, because some of them are still...
It seems the majority of the blacks are saying, we told you, and no, this is not our fight this time.
And you did it.
Look at it. The benefits, the school lunch and the education scattered. It directly affects the black poor people.
Yep.
A lot of the benefits, Medicare and Social Security, it affects the poor black. You're going to fight against yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you see the billionaire.
Yep.
Merciless.
Yeah.
A lot of the Republicans, they're afraid of their own constituents, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why they ain't showing up.
Some of them are thinking, oh, well, it can happen to them. You know, this happened to them. When you go and say, boy, well, I get on with today. You close down the little thing that you were depending on. And you, darling, they have to put God first.
Yeah.
People don't think about that. Power is something that once you put your hand on it, you have to let go, you know.
Yeah.
But see, they try to take God out of everything over there. That's why now it's a fight. Because they try to take God out of schools. If they could have even go take him out of church, but thank God for the people that are still fighting, they try to take God out of everything in the U.S. And on their monies is in God we trust. So what are they really trusting in?
Nation, you know?
A matter of convenience.
You can't got hundreds of thousands of people enslaved. Stop here blame the Bible. Darling, they were reading the wrong Bible. No, serious. It's like these insects that they used to go to the church and thing, and the slaves outside. Well, darling, slaves could have read, you know, because the thing about slaves couldn't read. That ain't true?
Yep.
Those who were working in the house learn to read from teaching the children.
Yeah.
Or sitting in on the lessons.
Yep. Or
they read the papers too.
Yep. Yeah.
And they were acting as if we were deaf, you know. So they're carrying on the conversation in the front of the slave, the house slave. But the house slave mother down there in the cottage, in the hut. People they couldn't read.
Yeah, eventually, when
there's no intellectual deficiency in black people.
Eventually, when a lot of the slave masters found out that their slaves could read and do calculations, they put them in charge of the books. So certain slaves did the books for the slave masters and so on and so
I even
forth.
watch pictures. I know movies where they taught slaves different languages and named them German, look at German names. Gave them German names. Sorry.
Yeah, but if you leave here and you go, say Santo Domingo, a lot of people came back speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
Once you're in an environment, even the children,
it's automatic. Yeah.
Yeah, automatic.
Yeah.
The parents Spanish, but they learn.
What they say, you learn by osmosis. Yeah.
Do you know? But all I know that they learn. A lot of the people from Asia who went to the USA, sir, The parents couldn't speak a word of English.
Because even the little Dominica Republic kids here, they're bilingual. Because their parents brought them up in Spanish, and then they go to school and they speak English.
Yeah, up to now, some of the parents can't speak English. Huh?
Yeah, exactly, and the children are bad on it. Yeah.
From primary, they go preschool, primary school. You know.
I'm going to show you an example where you learn because of the environment, as Sylvine said. I remember when my mother took me to Puerto Rico on one of her shopping trips, and we were staying in a hotel that downstairs was a cafeteria, and my mother bought some patties and shared them with me, and I love those patties. So I went downstairs and tried to get buy, but I couldn't speak the language, so I was saying one patty, one patty, and people were, but then someone said uno pasodillo, and I never forgot that, one patty.
Yeah.
Let me give you a joke and then I'll come out the phone. I went to Chile on a workshop. 3 weeks. From the very day we reached, we had trouble. Didn't realize that the temperature down there, the climate was different.
Cold.
It was spring down there. You could have seen the snow on the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, whenever we stand in this hotel, we usually, when we get drink, we want ice. We put ice in the drink.
Yeah.
So we're trying to explain to the server that we want ice. All kind of things. We want to bring water. Then she thought they said ice cream. We don't have ice cream.
Helado.
You hear? Up to now, the man cannot say we want ice.
So you learned the word for ice, right?
May remember. I went into a KFC one day, but one thing, there were some children, students, who could speak English, we found out. They were attending the Catholic University. When you go to a place, they will come up to you and can I help you? When they're trying to even show the person.
Yeah.
One day I went into a KFC, and I wanted the chicken, but I didn't want. I wanted the chips, but I didn't want the chicken. I have the whole line tie up. In the end, I had to say one, Cuddle number.
Yeah.
I had to buy what I didn't want. You think it's easy? Everything and everything is meal. Every place you ask them, meal. A meal was $1,000 pesos, whatever it was. You don't even never get in rubber. But it is good to learn another language.
Yeah, even here, recently I wanted a comb for my mom, and I went into the Chinese place, and there's this young Chinese, and I asked him, "Do you have combs?" And he nodded to the affirmative, yes. And then he turned and picked up a handkerchief and gave it to me. So I said, no, a comb. And he looked there puzzled. So I tried to put my hand through his ear, say, comb. But he didn't understand. But fortunately, I looked behind me and I saw a container with a big Afro comb in it. So I took it out and I said, this, comb. And then he understood and he showed me where the combs were in another container. Yeah.
So good to learn another language. Good morning to everybody.
Yeah. Take care.
60 days of prayer.
Yeah.
Amen.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equaline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equaline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equaline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Babe, we can can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on WINN Media 98.9.
Welcome back to Island Tea. So, Quinn, as we were discussing the three bills that were passed in Dominica, it's the House of the Assembly, the registration, the controversial registration of electors bill, and regulations 2024. The House of Assembly Elections and Registration Bill 2024, and the Electoral Commissions Bill 2024 with bipartisan support. So that means the parties agreed on something.
Yeah.
And then it says, the government says the bills aim to enhance electoral integrity, improve transparency, and modernize voting procedures in line with international best practices.
We have a caller,
Okay. Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island Tea. Good morning.
Good morning to everybody. Greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, let me say this. First of all, where America is concerned, just like all other countries are concerned, okay? President Trump, President Biden, well, let me go back. President Trump, we did Vice President Vance. President Biden, we did Vice President Kamala Harris. President Obama, we did Vice President Joe Biden, and so on and so on. Go down the line. The Bushes, the Clintons, Reagan, you name them. They are all God's judgment upon America and also upon the world as well, but more so upon America. And the reason why is because of America's disobedience to the Bible. And Christians of the past, like John Calvin and so on, have correctly said, when God wants to destroy nations, he gives them wicked leaders. And that goes for all nations, including us here in St. Kitts as well, and the Caribbean as well. You see, and that this is what people do not grasp. That's why we can never, ever solve our problems, because we do not know the root to our problems. We do not know the root cause of our problems. And let me say this. All who die not believing the gospel and who have not biblically repented, they will end up in hell for all eternity. That include you, Clinton. That include me. That include the lady with you. That include everybody in this world. If we die not biblically repenting, we will end up in hell for all eternity, because we have not believed the gospel in the sense of trusting in it as we ought to biblically. So because the vast majority of people in each nation at this present time has rejected the gospel of Jesus Christ and have not repented, this is why we have these leaders. You know, people blaming Trump. Well, and also people blaming Biden. Well, but look at the root cause of the problem: our disobedience to the word of God. You know.
Greg,
Yes.
I think when I was speaking to you yesterday, and I asked you the question as to why, I think it was you that I asked the question, why did Christopher Columbus name St. Kitts St. Christopher.
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
Not me.
Okay, it was someone else then. Okay, but...
I think it's Miss Henry, I believe.
I don't think so. Anyway, to whoever it was that I was having that conversation with, I have a little bit of a clip here that says, St. Christopher, or the Christ bearer, which is Latin, Sanctus Christophorus, is venered or worshipped by several Christian denominations, and according to these traditions, he was a martyr killed in the reign of the 3rd century Roman Emperor Decius, or alternatively under the Emperor Maximus Daria, and churches and monasteries were named after him by the 7th century. So that was to whomever I was having that bit of a... So a lot of people feel that St. Kitts was named after Christopher Columbus. It was not. It was named after St. Christopher, a saint, the church, what do you call it, deifies certain people and so that kind of stuff?
No, that is Roman Catholic beliefs. That's not biblical teaching. That's Roman Catholic beliefs. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I thought. To be, I'm gonna be quite honest with you, Quinn.
Yeah.
I thought that Saint Kitts was named Saint Christopher after Christopher Columbus.
Okay, a lot of people think that.
Knew. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just said a lot of people think that.
I used to think that as well.
Yeah.
But I knew that the name mean Christ bearer.
Yeah.
But I too had think that was the reason why we had named that.
Yeah.
Also, what I would like to say is that it is very interesting. Like I say, yesterday we were speaking of, and it is true. The Bible does not speak about... God never instructed governments to reduce taxes. He instructed them that they should not enforce penalties on people who do not pay taxes.
Yeah.
Okay? Yesterday... well, I'm not calling him because you might get a little bit ticklish about that. but yesterday, one of the callers said, well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
The taxes were mandatory. Well, I would like to ask the person, if it was mandatory, then what was the civil penalty that God instructed that should be applied to it when you don't pay your taxes, when you don't pay your tithes, when you don't give your first fruit offerings, because the person mentioned all of those things? Then what was the civil penalty? Because when it came to stealing, rape, kidnapping, blasphemy, and those other sort of stuff, God gave the civil penalty as to what should be applied to them, but he never did that for taxes and that sort of stuff. So if it was mandatory, then
why
God never gave any civil penalties for not paying the taxes, tithe, first fruits, and that sort of stuff? No, it was an obligation, yes. It was a duty, yes, but it was not an obligation or a duty that was tied with any civil penalty attached to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but let me just say once more again. We got to look beyond the symptoms and go at the root cause of our problem. The root cause is that we do not fear Jesus Christ. And because of that, we do not obey the Bible, and that is why we are having the leaders that we're having, because the leaders that we're having is God's judgment on us, including people's favorite leaders, be it Biden, Harris, Trump, Pence, you name them all. And also would like to say as well, I am often told that what I do only work on paper. It doesn't work in reality, which is very interesting, because it is countries that move closer to what I believe that do the best in the world. Yes, Yes, I have said taxes should be voluntary in the sense that no civil penalty should be attached to it. But since no country does that, countries that lessen the taxes are moving closer to my position. They are not at my position, but they're moving closer to it. And those countries do better and better the more they move closer and closer to my position. In around 1980 or so, when we had abolished personal income tax and therefore lessened the tax burden, at least for a time, you know what happened? The economy grew a lot more. More businesses, especially small businesses, came on the scene. More jobs came on the scene. No government program has ever produced such economic growth and such growth in small businesses and so on as what the abolishing of the personal income tax did, which lessened the tax burden and our economy at least for a time. You know, because afterward the government started to increase because of the increased spending. But this is what, and when the government started to increase taxes here, the economy started to slow down again. So it's very interesting that people that say, oh, my position only work on paper, but yet the more countries come closer to my position, the better those countries get. And the more countries go closer to their positions with all kind of government programs and this and that, is the worse those countries not do. So, we just like to say things to demagogue people, because we conveniently ignore the facts and what really happened in reality.
I've never been one to go against everything you say. There might be differences in some of the things that you say where I'm concerned, but some of the things that you say are good and right, but some of the things you say I may not agree with. So I'm not one of those who knocks everything that you say. Okay?
I know that. And without due respect, there's nobody on this earth that I agree with 100% either. Okay? All I'm saying is that, let's deal with what is before our eyes. And let's deal with the truth rather than just brush off people. Let's argue out our points. Because with our due respect, people say, oh, you can't change people. But trust me, people do change based upon when they examine people's position in argument.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyhow, Quinn, thank you very much. Appreciate
Take
your
care.
time.
Continue to enjoy your day. So Cortencia, the time is 2 minutes after 9 o'clock. So
yeah, I'll be leaving you now, but I'll be in tomorrow for the full session. As we say, duty calls. So to all that contributed, thank you so much, Quinn. We'll still continue the program, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But have a pleasant day. Take care on the roads. Remember, nowhere's far in St. Kitts.
I think they always miss you, though. I think they always miss seeing a feminine face. Looking on the screen and seeing,
Don't worry, I'll be here tomorrow.
You take care.
All right, you too.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
If you live in low-lying areas, be aware of the possibility of tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WINN FM.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on WINN Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on WINN Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you, and this time on my lonely, as Cortencia stated just prior. She is out for the day, but will be back tomorrow and for the duration or the entire show. So you will be graced with her presence for the entire show tomorrow. Here's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go right into, as we spoke about various things, but we also touched on, the United States of America and some of the shenanigans and things that have been happening during the Trump, since the Trump election. So I'm going to go to this clip that speaks to some of the things that have been taking place as far as the American economy in relation to its friends and partners around the world in relation to the tariffs.
Industries and put foreign competitors in check. But tariffs were supposed to be a weapon, a show of strength, a way to protect American industries and put foreign competitors in check. But instead of bringing jobs back or securing economic dominance, they have ignited a financial disaster so massive that in just one day, the U.S. stock market lost $4 trillion in value. This wasn't a random market dip. It was a direct response to a tariff war that has spiraled out of control, leaving businesses scrambling, investors panicking, and America, rather than China or Canada, taking the heaviest blows. What began as a strategy to make America economically unshakable has now turned into a self-inflicted wound, one that is draining wealth faster than any foreign adversary ever could. But what caused it? Let's find out. Let's start with what Trump planned for nations. Firstly, China. Trump's decision to raise tariffs on Chinese goods from 10% to 20% was meant to squeeze Beijing into submission. The logic was simple. Make it more expensive for Americans to buy Chinese products, force companies to shift production back to the US, and create an economic advantage that would leave China struggling. But instead of China buckling under the pressure, it struck back with ruthless precision. Beijing retaliated by slapping heavy tariffs on American agricultural goods, cutting deep into the backbone of the US economy. The message was clear. China wasn't going to sit quietly while Washington tried to strong-arm it. The impact was immediate. American farmers, who rely heavily on exporting wheat, corn, and chicken, suddenly found their biggest buyer walking away. Demand plummeted, shipments stalled, and the very people Trump had promised to protect were now watching their revenues collapse. While farmers were left reeling, Wall Street was entering full-blown panic mode. The tech sector, which had been the main driver of the stock market's growth for years, suddenly found itself in freefall. Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla companies that depend on global supply chains, Chinese consumers, and stable trade relationships were among the first to take massive hits. The Nasdaq plunged 4% from its previous high, dragging down investors who had once celebrated Trump's pro-business stance. Tesla alone lost $125 billion in value, a stunning blow that showed just how fragile the market had become under the weight of escalating trade tensions. But it wasn't just the immediate damage that sent investors running. The memory of the 2018 to 2019 US-China trade war was still fresh, and the signs were eerily familiar. Back then, tariffs had disrupted supply chains, forced companies to raise prices, and slowed global economic growth. Now, the cycle was repeating itself, only this time with even higher stakes. Businesses, unsure of what move Trump might make next, began slashing investments, putting expansion plans on hold, and hoarding cash instead of hiring workers. The ripple effect was unmistakable. Confidence in the U.S. economy was collapsing, and the consequences were just beginning. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's continue now. It was not just China behind all this. After China comes Canada. If trade tensions with China were predictable, the tariffs on Canada were downright baffling. Canada has long been one of America's closest economic allies, a stable and reliable trade partner. Yet Trump decided to go after it with the same reckless aggression. The administration slapped a 25% tariff on Canadian imports and added a 10% tariff on energy exports, expecting that Canada would have no choice but to accept the new terms. But instead of rolling over, Canada retaliated with its powerful counterstroke, adding a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the U.S. This single move sent shockwaves through the American energy sector. The cost of electricity for U.S. manufacturers and businesses immediately surged, making it more expensive to produce goods domestically. Instead of forcing Canadian suppliers to lower prices, the tariffs ended up driving costs higher for American industries, putting them at an even greater disadvantage. The impact on corporate confidence was devastating. Delta Airlines, one of the largest carriers in the U.S., announced that its profit forecasts had been slashed in half, citing economic uncertainty caused by the tariffs. The announcement triggered an immediate sell-off, sending Delta's stock plunging 14%. It was a clear sign that businesses weren't just worried about short-term losses. They were fundamentally rethinking their investments in an unpredictable economic climate. The stock market as a whole began to spiral. The S&P 500, which had reached record highs just weeks earlier, suddenly found itself in a full-scale collapse. Hedge funds, which had bet heavily on Trump's economic policies, dumped their stocks at the highest rate in 2 years. Confidence in the administration's ability to handle economic affairs was unraveling, and the numbers spoke for themselves. All gains made since Trump's re-election had now been completely erased. So, with this, the U.S. stock market suffered a massive $4 trillion loss as escalating tariffs triggered a widespread sell-off. It was one of its worst financial meltdowns in history, erasing trillions in investor wealth. Losing $4 trillion in market value isn't just a bad day on Wall Street. It's the kind of catastrophic wipeout that reshapes the global economy. The sell-off wasn't limited to tech stocks or agriculture. It spread like wildfire across the financial sector, hitting everything from banking to retail to cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, often seen as a haven during times of market panic, fell 5% as even the riskiest investors rushed to pull their money out of volatile assets. While stocks crumbled, investors ran for safety, sending bond prices soaring. The yield on 10-year U.S. Treasury bonds, a key indicator of economic confidence, fell to 4.22%, signaling that money was rapidly flowing out of the stock market and into safer government securities. When investors start prioritizing safety over growth, it's a sign that they are bracing for a recession, and that's exactly what is happening now. Despite the carnage, the Trump administration has shown little concern, with some insiders even suggesting they are comfortable with a market downturn if it helps them achieve broader trade goals. But this level of financial destruction isn't just about reshaping trade relationships. It's about shaking the very foundation of America's economic future. If businesses lose confidence, investors flee, and corporations start scaling back, the damage won't be temporary. It will be long-term, deep, and potentially irreversible. But if you think all of this economic destruction is simply the result of China and Canada retaliating, think again. This isn't just a trade war. It's economic self-harm on a scale never seen before, engineered entirely by Trump himself. Other nations aren't waging an economic attack on the U.S. They are merely responding to a reckless policy that has thrown America into a downward spiral of its own making. While Trump's tariffs were supposed to bring economic dominance, they have instead triggered a catastrophic chain reaction of uncertainty, inflation, and capital flight. And the scariest part? This is just the beginning. Trump's entire strategy rested on the belief that China and Canada would fold first, that they would wilt under economic pressure and come running back to negotiate better trade terms for the U.S. But what he failed to understand is that these nations are built for endurance, while America, driven by short-term financial markets and political cycles, is the one suffering the immediate consequences. China has not only absorbed the blow, but has turned it into an opportunity, fast-tracking its transition to a self-sufficient technology powerhouse. And yet, despite all this chaos, there is no clear exit strategy. Trump didn't implement these tariffs with a carefully structured long-term plan. There was no contingency for how the U.S. would navigate economic retaliation, no consideration for how global markets would react, and no diplomatic groundwork laid to prevent escalation. This was pure political posturing disguised as economic policy, and now the consequences are unavoidable. Markets don't run on empty bravado. They run on stability, confidence, and long-term security. The $4 trillion that just evaporated from the U.S. stock market is not some fluke. It is the market's brutal verdict on Trump's failed experiment. And this isn't just about numbers on a screen. A market crash of this magnitude directly affects jobs, wages, retirement savings, and the ability of businesses to expand. When investors flee, businesses shrink. And when businesses shrink, people lose jobs, purchasing power declines, and recession creeps in. Even worse, there is no end in sight. Trump seems completely indifferent to the financial carnage unfolding, with some in his administration suggesting that they are comfortable with a market downturn if it means pursuing their trade agenda. But this is not a temporary dip in the market. It is a structural collapse of economic trust. The longer these tariffs remain in place, the more American businesses will suffer, the more consumers will feel the squeeze, and the more damage will be done to the U.S. economy. This is no longer about punishing China or Canada. This is about America deliberately sabotaging itself. Washington has turned its economy into a battleground and its people into collateral damage. The only question left is, how much more destruction will America inflict on itself before someone finally stops the bleeding? Because at this rate, America's biggest enemy isn't some external adversary, a foreign nation plotting its downfall, or a rival superpower challenging its dominance. It's the reckless, short-sighted policies tearing apart its economy, destabilizing markets, driving investors away, and causing self-inflicted wounds that may take decades to heal. It is possible that the American people, witnessing the devastation unfolding before them, the collapsing stock market, skyrocketing prices, vanishing jobs, and an economy spiraling into uncertainty, will reach a breaking point. The mounting pressure, financial losses, and political backlash may ultimately force Trump to step back before irreversible damage is done. Do you think that if Trump remains silent, Americans will speak? Will they force him to do something? Let us know in the comments section. Will Trump step back after the U.S. economy is completely ruined? Do you want to watch more videos?
Yeah, good questions. As I was asking Sylvian earlier today, will the man rethink his strategy and step back? If he does not, and he continues to show this indifference, America will continue to inflict wounds upon itself. As the narrator said, no outside force is coming after America to try to undermine the American economy. This is coming from within the United States of America because of an uncalculated long-term strategy, rather an experiment that one thought would be good. Even all of the media and spokespersons for the president have a tendency to say, well, the president intends to use tariffs as a bargaining chip, but this is not working. And the reason why we in the region are concerned is because we know that what happens will trickle down and affect us. The bigger economies are lashing back in their own way. Unfortunately, we are vulnerable states. So we hope that the United States president will rethink and re-strategize before it is too late. I'll take a bit of a commercial break, and when I come back, I'll sort of see if I can delve into another topic. In the meantime, if you want to call and speak about anything that has been spoken of before, or bring up something on your end, well, I see my phone lines ringing, so I'm not going to take that break as yet. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Quinn, sorry to call back so quick again. But Trump, there are people who are advising Trump very wrongly, but the buck stopped with Trump, not them. Trump is being very foolish and evil and wicked too. Okay? Now, let me say this. Where tariff is concerned, the more you increase tariffs, is the more you're going to increase the price inflation and therefore the cost of living in your country. And when price inflation or the cost of living increases in your country, your standard of living is going to drop. When one goes up, the other one goes down. That's the connection between the cost of living and the standard of living. When one goes up, the other one goes down.
Also, Greg, what I think he did not envision is that you're going to put tariffs on these individuals and you hope that they're going to buckle and come begging. But for instance, with China is your biggest market for your farm goods and that kind of stuff. So they have a way and a means to retaliate. And so China put tariffs on the things that you're sending to them.
Well, I got something to say about that as well. But let me say this. Well, okay, let me address that issue because the man also said Canada increased tariffs as well.
But tariffs on electricity and so forth.
Yes, but with all due respect, Quint, that is also foolish. Why it is foolish? Because you now are increasing the cost of living on your people. That's not how you win a trade war.
But wait, Greg, people, remember everyone, even China said no one wins in a trade war. No one wanted this.
Exactly. No one winning in a trade war when both sides are carrying up tariffs.
Yeah.
Nobody wins because both countries, all the countries who are increasing their tariffs as a retaliation, you are also increasing the cost of living on your people. The way to win a trade war, okay, is by not participating in it. Or better yet, even decrease your tariffs more. Because what happens is that the country who put up the tariffs, they are making it worse than the people. Trump foolishly says, as he foolishly believes, that because he raised the tariffs, okay, the Chinese are who are going to pay for the tariffs. If we just say that foolishness. No. It's your people who pay for the tariffs. China can find other markets. Okay, China can, yes, they may not get as much, but they can still get a lot. And not only that, but their own people could use what they produce as well.
Yeah.
America has lost a lot of industrial companies which have moved to China, Mexico, and that sort of stuff. And why they move? Because the cost of living due to government regulations and just due to government taxes and so on, because there are a lot in America and have increased somewhat in America, it has made doing business in America more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So that's why they move to China and Mexico and so on, where they could do business cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay? If Trump had really wanted them to come back to America and beat Mexico and beat China at their game, what Trump should have correctly done is decrease the government regulations, decrease the tariff, decrease the taxes, so as to make it a lot cheaper now to come back to America to do business. And that's how you attract business, not putting up tariffs or taxes. And like I said, come back to you again, Clint. This is going in the direction of the Bible way of doing things. Lowering your taxes. At least you're going in the correct direction. You're not there, because you're not it's not voluntary. You're not there, but at least you're going in that direction. The more you go in that direction, the more you prosper. Going in the direction of what the Bible says. No, Trump, because Trump foolishly thinks that it is the Chinese and the Mexicans and the Canadians who are going to pay the tax when he increases the tariffs. Because he foolishly thinks that and says that he is destroying America because it is the Americans who are really paying the tariffs, not the foreigners or the foreign countries. So aside, but Trump, and even on other issues, Trump has, because what Trump has wickedly done again, Trump has wickedly started bombing Yemen again.
Yeah.
And not only that, because Trump has given arms and so to Israel, as Biden and Harris used to do, because Trump has continued that policy, they start bombing Gaza and so again.
Yeah.
Kill what, 400 plus people?
Yeah.
Children and women?
Well, I kind of...
It's not blood on Trump hand. Just like it was blood on Paris and Biden hand.
Well, they don't really care. But we all knew that this was going to happen from the moment Trump made the statement that they would turn Gaza into a resort and that kind of stuff. He was sending a message. He was sending a message to Israel that he didn't care about the Palestinians. And ever since he made that statement, the Israelis have sought ways to restart that war.
Yes, and have.
Yeah.
And have done so lately.
Well,
under Trump.
Yeah. Sadly,
so. Because he, like the administration before, the Biden Harris administration before him, continued to give Israel weapons.
Yeah.
And money.
And that is
blood on all of them hands.
And that is one of the reasons why I said, I think it was to Sylvie yesterday, that the United Nations doesn't seem to have any kind of clout. It's just rhetoric, and maybe in certain small instances. But when it comes to the top 5 or so nations, they have no. They're not in a position to do anything.
Exactly. You know, with all due respect, that's the practicality of the situation. Because remember, those countries got nuclear weapons and so.
Yeah.
So that's just the practicality of the situation. They can't touch those big countries. Sorry about that, but they can't touch them.
Yeah. And imagine Africa alone has 52, different representatives, and they don't have one individual on the Security Council. You see?
That is quite true.
So
quite true.
It's a way
But not only that, look, America used, I think, what Kenya to go do the dirty work in Haiti.
Yeah.
As America caused the confusion.
Yeah.
So America should be the one to clean it up. That's not Kenya.
Yeah.
But you see, they sell out for money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you, what a world we live in.
Yeah. Let me think so that other people will come in. Take care.
Yeah, I'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back.
Found the sound. 98.9 WINN FM.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join Azar Gums, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WINN FM. Join Azar Gums as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WINN FM 98.9.
Want to earn your degree from a U.S. university? Qualifying Caribbean residents can study 100% online at DeVry University with 50% tuition savings and a waived application fee. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Restrictions apply. Visit partner.devry.edu/Caribbean today.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on WINN Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you, and I'm going to go into another topic. You might find I have a tendency to jump from one issue to the other, and unless I have an engagement with a caller who wants to speak on any issue or bring up an issue of their own, I'm going to be bouncing around on different topics and different issues, whether they relate to what's happening in the region or around the world. Hello, good day to you.
Yeah, it's me again. Good morning, Greg. Now, can you explain this fiasco with the Athletic Association and the postponement of the games?
No, I cannot.
You heard the news on?
Yes, I heard the news, and what I was thinking was that you know, we should plan for the future. Always have plans, you know, to curtail certain things. But I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause it don't make no sense to me. Imagine all the children out there killing themselves practicing for the inter-primary. You see, might do the inter-high school too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was expecting the inter-high school to go to Nevis.
Yeah. Because sometimes I think
you want people to go to the Olympics. What do you do? Kill the spirit?
Yeah, but I don't. Sometimes I wonder how these ministers, how they think, because what the people, the masses of the people are going to be thinking. You're in charge of something. You know, you have a year, months. Last year you had problems. You know, you had to make certain decisions, and now this year you let the problems roll over to the extent that you're now calling off everything. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I said, wait, are we serious? That's what I was asking.
Well,
I mean, the primary school children, they had certain it, eh?
Yeah.
And they had some of the events, the quarterly events. Some of the school revving to go and win the inter-school thing.
Yeah.
And you want to tell me, oh, you cancel it? What happened to the Boston High School? Like they were lauding.
Well, I cannot give you answers. I am not in a position to...
I hope somebody, my good friend, McMahon, wonder if he knows. It puzzles me.
Is McMahon a part of the system that...
No, but he's
welfare, in there?
Maybe not in the ministry, but he has access.
Okay.
Just like how Gregory have access and Trump. So, no, I'm serious, because they said up front, the minister said that the Kim Collins Stadium is not fit for use right now.
Yes, and that has been going on for how long, Sylvine?
I don't know, but they're getting all now, stop count. I mean, really, Dr. Jones need to do something to his minister of sports.
You see...
That's a big event, you know.
You see...
You talk about not only the children, parents, and other business enterprises.
You see...
Depending on it.
Politicians need to understand that you have an electorate out there that is following what is happening. So it's not that it's out of the blue that, well, this just came up. People have been following what has been happening for some time. And when people elect ministers, they elect you to make decisions that solves problems.
Yeah, and he has had enough time. Then somebody talking about, the Nevis not sitting. Well, is the CIB that helped them to purchase the track? Why they can't get Nevis the money to provide the seating?
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
the
Nevis economy cannot absorb all of that because they're borrowing to survive.
Yeah.
They're actually living on debt. And you have all of this money, you know, and you had to go to Nevis. People expected them to go to Nevis again because the minister, when the last press conference, he said the thing is not ready.
And from all accounts, it seemed as if though when they went to Nevis the last time, it came off quite well.
You said the only thing is that maybe some children were afraid to cross this year, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
And there's no prediction of any storm coming. You can imagine some children could be so disillusioned that next time they just don't want to run because they don't know if they're going to get you.
And remember,
imagine the coaches.
And remember that a part of the education system, you see, people have to think on a wide, in a wide range. Part of the education system is the academics, and then there's sports and that kind of stuff where individuals can get scholarships and they start at a young age and they move their way up. And as you say, this will cause some disillusion.
God, they're not sure.
Yeah, so I don't.
Why should I practice and we're not sure we got to have this and that?
Yeah, I think to actually call it off completely, that is, and have they
during the same week?
Have they given an idea as to if it will be back on or when it will be? Has it been?
They're gonna see if they could sort it out and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the children must by the time they're ready, they must type and then exams, CXC.
Yeah.
By April into May, the fifth-form children gone home. SBA and it become priority.
Yeah.
Preparation for exams will be steaming up.
You see, this kind of reminds me of that word that we hear bandied around so much: sustainable development. And sustaining ignorance. Sustainable development.
Sustaining it because look at it, sustaining docility. You see what the people think, though? If the parents now get up and say, look, I don't prepare my children, some of them maybe have to go out and buy.
They're showing clearly that they're not moving in the vein of sustainable development. Sustainable development means that for so long we know that the Kim Collins Stadium was nothing. Sustainable development means that you would have been putting things in place gradually, bit by bit, so that we could move forward.
3 long years.
That's what I'm saying. So
3 young years in the wilderness.
So sustainable development seems to be just sustainable development seems to be just verbal rhetoric.
Some give the girl Clark a little credit. She's doing something, but some of them, no. But I mean, seriously, we want to hear from the minister or the prime minister. You just can't. Because next month, as I said, exams,
Yeah. We have another caller.
Even the primary school.
Miss Henry, you don't have to hang up, but we have another caller. If you want to hang up, you hang up. If you don't.
It's my landline, so.
Okay.
I could hold on.
Hello. Good day to you, other caller.
Yeah, good morning, man. How you doing today, man?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, pretty good. I just wanted to put in a plug for the Nevis M. That sports meet that's
canceled. Yes.
Postponed.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm interested in the one meet that took place in Nevis last year as a result of the same situation.
Yeah.
They should just maybe go ahead and bring that meet back to Nevis.
That's what we thought would happen.
Yeah, they should just go ahead and do that instead of delaying the children. Undoubtedly, those children have been preparing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
parents,
it's like a boxer. It's like
the parents,
like a boxer in the ring.
Yeah, the parents spend money to buy, the stuff for some track and field and so forth, and now you just postpone it or cancel it.
Yeah. They should have go ahead and bring that meet back to Nevis and just like what I'm driving at is like for years we've been coming down to Sinkers for that meet, right? And is that into primary or into high school?
Sylvine?
Both of them are postponed.
But whatever meet it is, right? You can still hear me, right?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah. Whatever meet it is, the one that took place in Nevis last week, they should just go ahead and bring that back to Nevis.
Yeah, Yeah.
My thing about it
is more difficult to transport
because we are twin islands.
Because there be a lot more children.
And for whatever reasons why they cannot get that
meat. They could have got, look, everybody was thinking they'd have everything in Nevis. The problem they say Nevis is seated. Well, they could have...
Hello. Both of you are speaking at the same time, so listen to each other and you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Burl.
Go ahead, Burl.
Okay, what I was saying is, they should just go ahead and bring that meat back to Nevis and just do that until the Kim Collins Stadium is ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm driving at is we want those persons in St. Kitts to come over to Nevis and have the Nevis experience.
Yeah.
You know, when they come over, not just go to the track meet. You know, they can build a small itinerary for the time they're going to spend in Nevis.
Yeah.
You know, whether they're going to spend an overnighter or whatever, there are historical sites in Nevis that they can visit.
Yeah.
The NIA just upgraded the bat stream. You know, persons can visit the bat stream. You know, to put that in perspective a little bit, right? You know, there's persons in St. Kitts that has never been to Nevis at all. And we need to encourage that inter-island travel more.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I'm going to tell you, man, I have a cousin that's living in St. Kitts right now. And if I didn't step down on her to encourage her to come to Nevis to see my mom, who is her aunt, she would have never seen my aunt. She was able to bless her eyes on my aunt one time before my mom passed away.
That's good.
Just to put that in perspective.
Yeah.
The other caller
anyway,
wants to say something.
I'm awaiting a response from the Minister of Sports. That to me is what we want to hear.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
Because the association operate while they may be independent, as we say. They cannot operate outside of the Ministry of Sports because the children are from the government institutions.
Yes.
I'll hang up.
Okay, Sylvain. Take care.
Okay, I want to make one other point. The other caller's gone?
Yes.
Okay, my other point that I want to make concerning, I'm going to touch back on the Cuban thing real quick.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about that is yesterday when Cortensia was reading a clip, she was saying that one of the opposition leaders in one of the Windward Islands was trying to come at the government with the Cuban issue.
Yeah.
Was that correct?
Well, I don't remember clearly, so I'm not going to go out on a limb and say yay or nay. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Okay. But what I want to say about that, right? Instead of the opposition leaders in the different islands may try to use the situation to come at the governments in place, they should not do that. I think America is waiting for that type of stuff to happen.
Yes.
So that they can see the inconsistencies.
Yes, I agree.
And when they see the inconsistencies as individual persons are talking separately, that's not a good idea. We should speak as one voice because remember now, this is a fluid situation.
Yeah.
Even though there was no official or unofficial communique at this time, it is something the United States is monitoring and will be monitoring going forward in the near future because they are very well concerned about their national security. America is concerned about their national security. So what I will give, the advice I will give to the leaders in the Caribbean is to just probably zip their mouths right now. They have spoken enough. They should zip their mouth right now and just go back to business as usual and leave this issue alone.
Yeah, I agree.
Until if it becomes official later on.
Yeah.
Just seal their lips right now, do their due diligence behind the scenes with their ambassadors and their foreign ministers, and have conversations among themselves so that they can formulate a plan.
Yeah.
Just in case America implement this stuff. And that's all I really want to say. They should just see their lips and have their interregional conversations among the leaders of the Caribbean, and just do that due diligence with the ambassadors, their foreign ministers, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just leave this stuff alone for now. Let this stuff die off a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Until if it becomes official.
Yes.
And that's all I really want to say this morning, man. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah, you have a good day. Thanks, man. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Same to you.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
Be the natural you with Fruta. The juice with the great flavor. What? Nothing nice like Fruta. The best juice come from the nature. Where fun and flavor collide. Perfect thing for nice up the vibe. Live Fruta for you, that's my style. With Fruta every sip smile.
Live Fruitaful. Look for us on the shelf with our new packaging. Enjoy 100% natural juice flavor. It's so fresh.
Live Fruitaful with Fruta.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
But that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they're full to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on WINN Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you. The time is 9:47. I did see the phone lines lighting up, and I did engage the line, but the person kept hanging up every time. Hello. Good day to you.
Yes, good morning, Quinn.
Good day to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were listening, but Sylvine said that you are afraid with the runnings of the athletic committee or something like that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But I heard her when she asked that.
Yes.
And it sort of occurred to me though that because I've been listening for most of the morning, on and off.
Yes.
And it occurred to me that a lot of what you've been discussing this morning, what that indicates is that there is a crisis of confidence and trust.
Yes.
Between leaders, our leaders,
yes,
not just here in the Caribbean as well, and the people. Okay? It should not take those street protests in Dominica for the government to realize that something was wrong in their approach.
Yes.
Okay? Of course, you'll have dissent, but any time that people feel motivated enough to take to the streets, that should tell you something.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Yeah, and and like I always say, whether it is 1935, whether it is the street protests that Mrs. Henry referred to in 93,
yeah.
Right. Whether it's Palestinians, whether it was the liberation struggle in Africa, any struggle, if you have people who are going to face military might, guns, tear gas, with whether it's bottles or stones or other projectiles,
yes,
either they're stupid or they're brave. Right? And I don't think those people protesting are stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay? They had to have been motivated to the point where they take such drastic action.
Yeah.
All right? And so, and I'm saying it should not take that kind of action before the leaders get up and realize that something is wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And which brings it back to the same thing with the athletics. Why is it that somebody in authority can't come out with a statement explaining exactly what happened? Why would it take so long before maybe it's because they want to spin something or something, but come straight forward and talk to the people and say exactly what the problem was. They keep treating us as if we're stupid.
Yeah.
That we can't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's disrespectful. Right? And that is why I keep saying, and you quoted me the other day.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Very often, all we need is renewal. Right? When you have the same people in office doing the same things as it used to be done, of course the result's going to be the same.
Most definitely.
Right? And that applies mostly to the old heads in our leadership, in our... Right? Hello?
I was trying to engage another caller, but they hung up. So go on, continue.
Yeah, it applies mostly to the old heads in the politics. We keep recycling them. But it applies to some of the new ones as well.
Yes.
Because they adopt the same bad habits mentors as their successors.
Yes, I agree.
And how do we change that? The only way to change it is to make sure there is renewal.
Yes.
Make sure if they do not satisfy our whatever
expectations.
Expectations. Yes, that we have of them.
Yes.
That we change them. We don't hesitate to change them. Because if there's nothing exceptional about them.
No.
There are other people who have ideas and who may be able to implement these in a better way.
Yeah.
And so we do it. We don't just sit there and take this for type of politics where, you get into office and all of a sudden you're inaccessible. All of a sudden you don't want to talk to the people. All of a sudden, if something goes wrong, you try and last it out.
Mm-hmm. Drag it on.
Think that people are gonna forget in 9 days. So just sit it out.
Yeah,
Mr.
McMahon. Don't hang up. We have another caller. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning to you, and good morning to Mac on the other side. Quinn,
yes,
I just wanted to say one more thing quickly because I was on just a while ago. I missed one thing I wanted to say, and I wanted to bring it to Mac Mahan's attention as well. Yeah, Mac Mahan, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah, I hope you realize, right? There was a cross-island meeting between the NIA and the federal government, the cabinet.
There was, yes.
There was a cross-island meeting. You heard about that, man? And it's the second of that kind.
Yes, I heard about it. And not only did I hear about it.
So what
not only did I hear about it.
I wanted to bring...
Caller. Hold. McMahon is answering you. Go ahead, McMahon.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yes, I heard about it. Not only did I hear about it, I heard the premier say that it was discussed, the fair share stuff was discussed, and that there is now a roadmap for what happens going forward. But there again, it comes back to, well, okay, there's a roadmap. Who's going to announce this to us? Don't you think we should have an idea of what that roadmap is going to be?
Yes, I agree.
This secretive government thing is killing us. There's no transparency and openness. They're just not committed to that.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Yes.
Continue.
Okay, yes, that's exactly why I'm mentioning it right now. I'm bringing it to the airways because we want to know how and when we are going to find out the details of that meeting. Not just this one this week, but there was another one before. But the details of these meetings got to be coming to the public. Like the people have been, and I know, Mark, you've been talking about electoral and constitutional reform. And for myself, I have the Bryan clause and the dual citizenship clause that I've spoken to the Prime Minister directly about those two clauses that need to be addressed. He said that he's going to bring them up in these discussions. So, as concerned citizens, we want to get the information, the transparency, like you say. This is not a secret for the country. We want to know about the discussions in these meetings, and undoubtedly that fair share between the two islands, the roadmap that you just mentioned, that needs to be public information right about now. But that's what I wanted to contribute, man. You know, you took the gentleman. Have a good day, man. Thanks a lot.
Okay, take care. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, right? I do not understand. Okay, sure. You talk, you discuss, and come out with come to some kind of conclusion. If you don't, whether you do or you don't, the people should know.
The people should know.
Don't treat us as if we are children, right? You're having, for instance, this geothermal thing. You're having this discussions on that, right? At least keep us updated. You don't have to reach to a conclusion. Keep us updated. Because if you don't have buy-in from the public, you are going to have problems down the road.
Yes.
Whether it is the fair share, whether it's the whatever arrangements between St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of the geothermal, it should not stay like some secret thing between two leaders, right? You have to get buy-in from the public. Otherwise, you can be sure of problems down the road. Yeah. And they don't seem to get it, right? Because they keep doing it.
But why
all of them keep doing it?
Why don't they get it that the electorate picked you so that you can govern the country in a way that keeps them informed? Why don't they get that?
Because they don't get that because they're not thinking that way. They're thinking that the electorate picked you to be their king for the next 5 years, and they do as they like, and don't come back to you with things. There's no interim democracy. There's no interim consultations and things like that.
You know?
Right? As far as they're concerned, they have carte blanche, a blank check, to do whatever they wish for the next 5 years. After that, you can come and talk in elections.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have news for them. You know, you can bet your life that it's going to be different next election when next election comes. Yes, the base will always be the base. You'll always have people whispering in your ear, "Oh, you're doing a great job," etc., etc.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can bet your life there's going to be a group. There's going to be some group of people, and none of us knows how the election is going to pan out.
Yeah.
Because right now it's looking like it's every man for himself.
Yeah.
And there will be a group of people. It may not be the majority, but that group of people who want a different way of doing things are going to be the ones who make the difference in this election. And let's see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I agree. Do you have anything to say on the lashback to the Trump administration in terms of the tariffs?
Well, I get the impression that he is going to stick to his guns until he's made to do otherwise by his party and or the other power centers in the country who are suffering. And I'm not talking about the ordinary people, because the ordinary people are very limited in what they can do until election time comes around.
Yeah.
You notice that they've had a lot of
protests.
They've had a number of protests at town hall meetings and so on.
Yeah.
But these are isolated. There's no national thing to galvanize a change in his direction.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he may actually believe in what he's saying, because on the surface, it sounds kind of reasonable.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You charge, I'm going to charge you whatever tariff you charge me. But that, and or down to where we have no tariffs at all. That sounds very, very reasonable. Okay, but when you can't, it's just like what we spoke about. Was it yesterday? That you can't upset the equilibrium, whether it's in climate or whatever else.
Yes, without consequences.
You can't intervene there without consequences.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think he was prepared for the consequences. So he'll probably try to stick to his guns.
Yeah, I
but
believe.
if the consequences get bad enough,
yeah,
he'll change.
I believe that is what I feel also. There are some who say that, he's going to stubbornly go to the end, but I don't think that he's that foolish. I think that he will eventually change.
Yeah, you can't have this kind of chaos for 4 years. Something would have to give.
Something will have to give. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait and see the collateral damage to it, and see exactly
how it
that
plays
clip
out.
That clip you played was kind of instructive.
Yes.
In that he was saying that he expected China and Canada and Mexico to
come running back,
come around to him.
Yeah.
His way of thinking. He didn't expect that kind of blowback.
Yeah.
Again, as was said, nobody wins in a trade war. And poor us down here, we may be collateral damage when the economy tanks up there and people stop coming here for vacation, people cut back on vacation and so on.
Yeah.
As you said, the world is a crazy place right now, and nobody I think can predict, and that's the thing, Nobody can predict anything. We can talk and
talk, yeah.
And, right.
Yeah.
But nobody can predict what's happening next month, right? And generally speaking, business don't like that.
And you notice
people can't plan for stuff.
And you notice, Mr. McMahon, when you sum it all up, it all comes down to leadership. It all comes down to whether or not you have good leadership that thinks long term.
And leadership at all levels.
Yes.
So who would have thought that one man could turn the world upside down like he's doing? You would have thought that leadership at other levels would have put the brakes on him.
Yes.
But that's not happening. It looks as if he's just having his own way.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's interesting to look at how the systems of the U.S., which we thought were really working well, separation of powers between the judiciary, the executive, and Congress, and so on.
Yeah.
We thought that was working pretty well.
Yeah.
But obviously it isn't.
It isn't.
And obviously he's challenging all of them. The judiciary, he's challenging everybody.
Yes, he is.
And he did warn us. I'll be a dictator on day one. Just on day one. And everybody laughed.
Yeah.
We have now we've seen it play out.
We have another caller. Don't hang up, because we're at the end of the show. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Quint?
Yes.
It's me again. First of all, Mr. McMahon talked about protests, with people protesting against the government, and the government should take note on that sort of stuff. And I do believe that there are protests in different countries around the world, including here in the Caribbean, that are genuine. I do believe there are genuine protests against people's own government.
Yeah.
But I also believe a lot of protests we see against government has been instigated by the American government, especially through the USAID. So people have to be careful when they see these protests, it's saying all of them is genuine. Some of them are, and a lot of them are instigated and incited by the American government to topple and overthrow government as well.
But
I'd like to respond to that.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
When he's done, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. Can I say something quickly about the tariff as well? And hang up. The tariffs, like I said, when countries raise tariffs, who you're hurting the most? Your own people, because your own people now don't have to pay extra money and what is being imported. And not only that, if you have industries in your countries, those things that are coming in at extra cost and because of the tariff can also raise those things that are produced in your country. So it's your own people in the end who's going to suffer the most when it comes to any country raising tariffs. Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care. Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Nobody wins in a tariff war. It's as simple as that. But with regards to him saying that people instigate stuff, of course, people incite stuff.
Yeah.
But you just think of yourself, Quinn, what it would take to get you on the street.
Yes.
It's not going to take everything.
Yeah,
you would have to be passionate about
something. Yes.
Yes. People not going to just get up and demonstrate and riot and that sort of thing because you tell them to. It's a very few who would do that.
Yes, I agree.
Okay? Yeah, it has to there has to be some underlying grievance that gets you to the point that you say, no, man, enough is enough. I'm going on the street. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
So this thing about people being incited, yes, it can happen, but only a few people, I think, would get up and do stuff that they don't feel passionate about.
Yeah, I agree.
Must have some kind of grievance.
Yes, I agree.
Right? So I would discount that.
Yes.
I would absolutely discount that. Mm-hmm. Right? And the bottom line is, right, I do not know what happened to leaders when they get into power.
Wow.
I don't know what happened to them. There's some disease in there that they just change. Right? They just start acting like who was there before.
Yeah.
It's something I really can't wrap my head around.
No, neither I can't.
You know, you see it all the time. They know everything that's wrong when they're out of office, and as soon as they get into office, it's a 180-degree turn.
Yeah.
You know, it's really amazing to watch.
Yeah.
You know, and even more amazing to see that they keep at it like that. I mean, I could understand initially the power kind of, you're not accustomed to it. You have to deal with it and so on. But eventually, man, I mean, you should at least look at the history and see what happens when that sort of dismissiveness and arrogance and so on set in. Right? It always ends badly for the incumbent.
Yes.
And so you think that they'll take note of that and change, but it just doesn't happen. That's why I call it a disease. It just happens.
Yeah, well, okay, we've come to the end. Yes. Thank you for your interjection and your, take care.
Right.
Yes. Right. Yeah, so that's it. I myself am amazed. I don't know where does rational thinking come into play? Where have you not seen how things play out? Governments come, governments go. You're given a chance to sit in the seat of governance, and you just do the same thing. I mean, hasn't it ever dawned on you? Doesn't it ever dawn on you that the old saying, the old adage, if you keep doing the same thing, don't expect any difference in the outcome? So we would expect to see some kind of change. Anyway, that's it for today on Island Tea. I'm going to bid you adieu, and do continue to have a great day. Hope your day started well and continues in that vein.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued, like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow,